evening. Seeing quorum, the chair of the Mashpee Planning Board opens up the Wednesday, June 5th, 2024 session of the Mashpee Planning Board. This meeting is being held at Mashpee Town Hall in the Bocoit Meeting Room, 16 Great Neck Road, North Mashpee. We're being recorded and broadcast live on local channel 8 and streamed live on the Town of Mashpee website, www.mashpeema.gov/channel-8. I welcome everybody here tonight, and I invite you to rise with me and say the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The first item on our agenda is review and hopefully approval of meeting minutes from May 15th, 2024. So I looked at them. I think, Chrissy, there was a scrivener's error of my name at some point. If you could just look for that. But otherwise, I thought they looked pretty good. Did anybody have any comments or questions? Oh, it's on page 10.
Okay, thank you.
So I'd take a motion to accept as amended.
So be.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed or abstaining? Okay, the minutes pass. Okay. It's my understanding we have a public hearing at 7:10 and 7:15.
Yes.
Are those going to get continued?
There hasn't been a request to continue. I was expecting the applicant's present tonight, so at this juncture, I don't know.
Okay.
I'm wondering if they may walk in at 7:10.
Okay, so the next item is public comment, and the reason why I asked about a continuance is I saw the engineer that presented last time we were here for New Seabury Homes LLC, and I saw him at the Yarmouth Planning Board meeting that started at 5:30, and I said, oh, how is that going to happen? I'm going to see you at 7. He said, oh, we've asked for a continuance.
Not received by my office.
So so we're going to have a public hearing at 7:10 and 7:15, but right now, if there's anybody that would like to make public comment on any other matter besides New Seabury Homes, on anything else on our agenda. Okay, if not, I will continue on to a different matter, and at 7:10, we'll open up the public hearing. Do you know if Ed Pesci's coming?
Ed has a conflict, is in Wellfleet tonight, but I have spoken with him on the items on the agenda that you would be looking for his comments on, and I'll let you know what he said.
Okay. So do you think we can do new business review of request and potential vote to release Aquay Highlands LLC from tripartite agreement?
Yes, I think you can. I spoke with Ed on this subject just about a half an hour ago. As you know, you relieved the developer of his obligation to construct a sidewalk on at least one side of the street some months ago. That subsequent to the completion of the top course of pavement and some drainage work, and was the last deliverable that would have been required for the developer to perform within the subdivision. And so the developer has since recorded that special permit modification, has provided a copy to my office, and has since requested the release of the tripartite agreement. My office did receive some correspondence months ago from the DPW director during the time when the residents of Blue Castle Drive were interested in petitioning the town to accept the layout of Blue Castle Drive due to the condition of one of the stormwater retention basins at the corner of Carriage Road and Blue Castle Drive. Ed made a site visit at that time and suggested a series of maintenance and repairs to that stormwater facility that the developer has complied with and Ed has inspected. photographs of. He did note to me that he is satisfied with the work, but wants to have his eyes on it one last time. But is otherwise satisfied with the performance by the developer of all the required items under the tripartite agreement. And thus, I would suggest a release of the tripartite agreement on the condition that Ed make one final inspection.
So are we under a deadline to release this?
No.
I would put it on the next agenda, don't you think?
Okay, he still has the big pile of dirt there, down there, at the end of it.
Yep.
And then he has 2 more or 3 more lots.
Don't know,
I
Dennis.
think it's 3. So when we leave him, what does he do with that pile of dirt?
That's a zoning enforcement matter the building commissioner is tackling, but we can't withhold the funds from him because of, I think, the pile of dirt.
Okay.
He has completed the performance as required under the agreement, which is the installation of the roadway and the utilities.
Well, I went up there like a week and a half ago, and 2 of the neighbors said, "What are they gonna do with that dirt?" He started taking it out, then he stops and
He
stuff, so-
has had a series of zoning enforcement actions taken against him. My most recent discussion on the subject with the building commissioner is that he has been satisfied with the movement that Jacques has taken with regard to the dirt pile, as well as the storage of materials on one property. I was notified today that he has a new mulch pile out there that conservation and building commissioner are dealing with, but again, I'm not certain it would be appropriate to withhold the release of the tripartite because of the existence of those materials.
Okay.
Well, because Ed wants to look at it one more
We're not
time,
gonna vote on it, we're not gonna release it right now.
let's put it on the agenda for July 17th.
And then we notify Ed to go look at it, right? We have to tell him.
I'll make sure Ed is aware that, and he had asked for that. He wanted the opportunity to see it one more time, because he had inspected it, said, I want you to clean up these few things. We've seen a photograph of the work, but he wants to see it in person.
Yeah,
I think it's prudent.
yeah.
And could you ask Ed for a written recommendation?
I can do that.
Now, do we ask Mr. Moran in? Because the neighbors have some issues, or let it
I'll
go
let
through
it
staff?
slide,
Okay,
that's
okay, so
It doesn't matter.
those are things that the building commissioner can
Yeah.
address. Okay.
Okay, and just a reminder, we do not have a regularly scheduled meeting for some time, if I'm not mistaken.
July 17th.
July 17th, just as long as you're comfortable with holding that release until that time. I think Mr. Moran will be under a time crunch. I'm just not certain it's something you need worry about in the absence of Ed wanting to make that final inspection.
Okay. That'd be all right, Mary.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
we've waited long enough.
Yeah, I mean, that's time.
You know what I'm saying? I
The
know.
applicant know, and if there's any issue communicated to me, I'll let the
And,
chair
and it's just
know.
a weird thing that we meet the first and third Wednesday of the month. The next regularly scheduled meeting is Juneteenth, which is a holiday. And then the next one is July 3rd, which we canceled at the beginning of the year. So it's just a fluky thing that we're not meeting till July 17th. Okay.
7:10.
Okay, 7:10. Can you check your work email just one more time?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yes, I sure can. Apologies if I hadn't been. Yeah, the last correspondence I have from the applicant is from Friday, where he transmitted the updated stormwater report and subdivision plan set, but there has been no request to continue received by my office.
Okay, so in that case, I am going to open up the public hearing, the 7:10 public hearing. The applicant is New Seabury Homes LLC. Location is off the western sideline of Great Oak Road between Red Oak Road and Sips Road, identified as map 110, parcels 58, 59, 80, 82, 83, 97.
We can't really discuss that until he
Hold
comes
a
here, right?
public. Trying to, I'm just, special permit. I'm trying to read into the record the correct.
Oh, Lord.
Okay. So pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 48, Section 9, the Mashpee zoning, excuse me, and the Mashpee zoning bylaw, Sections 172-24C and 174-47, the Mashpee Planning Board will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, May 15th, 2024 at 7:10 in the Wacoit Meeting Room at Mashpee Town Hall, 16 Great Neck Road, North, Mashpee, Mass. 02649, to consider an application made by New Seaberry Homes LLC for approval of a special permit for a cluster subdivision. The applicant proposes, excuse me, to divide the properties identified in Mashpee's Assessor's Map 110, parcels 58, 59, 80, 82, 83, and 97, and which are addressed as 52 and 58 Red Brook Road and 23, 29, 49, and 47 Great Oak Road, comprised of 318,064 square feet, into 7 new building lots ranging in size between 15,016 square feet and 17,083 square feet. The applicant proposes the planning board authorize minimum lot sizes of 10,000 square feet with 15-foot side and rear setbacks with 40-foot front setbacks, while preserving 181,266 square feet as protected open space, 57% of the total land area. The plans and submitted application can be viewed in the offices of the town clerk or the town planner, submitted by Karen D. Faulkner, Chair. Publication dates Friday, April 19th, 2024, and Friday, April 26th, 2024. Okay. I'm sorry. I have to wait 2 minutes to open up the next one. Okay, it'll probably take a whole minute for me to read this. So, seeing that the appointed time has arrived, the chair opens up the 7:15 special public hearing for New Seaberry Homes LLC. Location is off the western sideline of Great Oak Road between Red Brook Road and Sips Road, and identified as map 110, parcels 58, 59, 80, 82, 83, and 97. This is our public hearing notice. Pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 41, Section 81T, and the Mashpee Rules and Regulations governing the subdivision of land, the Mashpee Planning Board will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, May 15th, 2024, at 7:15 p.m. in the Wacoit Meeting Room at Mashpee Town Hall, 16 Great Neck Road, North, Mashpee, Mass. 02649, to consider an application made by New Seaberry Homes LLC for approval as a definitive subdivision plan of land that would divide 6 parcels into 7 building lots off of Great Oak Road and Red Brook Road. The properties are identified on Mashpee Assessor's Map 110, parcels 58, 59, 80, 82, 83, and 97, and are addressed as 52 and 58 Red Brook Road and 23, 29, 41, and 47 Great Oak Road. The submitted plans proposes to create lots that are between 15,016 square feet and 17,083 square feet in size, and proposes to protect 181,266 square feet of land as open space. The lots proposed would be accessed by a cul-de-sac road called Osprey Court. Plans may be reviewed in the offices of the town clerk or town planner at Mashpee Town Hall, submitted by Karen D. Faulkner, Chair. Mashpee Planning Board. Publication dates Friday, April 19th, 2024, and Friday, April 26th, 2024. Okay, So, just to let you know, I want to disclose that earlier today, at Town Hall in Yarmouth, I bumped into one of the two engineers from BSC that presented at our last meeting, and it was Brian Ugesha. And I said to him, for the record, "Oh, I'll see you at 7 o'clock in Mashpee." He goes, "No, we've asked for a continuance." He also let me know that they've contracted to do that PAL study of the archaeological resources of the area.
I did see Kieran Healy in the building this morning, but to my knowledge, no letter was dropped off and there's no email.
So anyways, the public hearing is open. What I propose to do is, we'll listen to anybody who wants to speak tonight. We won't have any new information from the project proponent because they're not here. They did drop off new plans. I don't know if anybody would like a set of those before they leave. But they did drop off new plans.
Those plans are also on the webpage as well, Madam Chair.
I have one extra set because Michael's recusing himself.
We
One
got a set here.
But you need a set.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at it, because I
Yep,
got some
yep,
questions.
there's an extra set. So, what I would propose to do is, as chair, go through everybody's comments and make a list of things that we're expecting the project proponent to address at our next meeting. With that, I would open it up to board members if they have any new questions about anything that they would like me to add to that list.
Well, I asked before why they couldn't come off of Red Brick Road. And I still looking at this, I still don't know why they can't come off of Red Brick Road. Because that'd be a lot safer than going Red Brick Road where the stop sign is and then taking a right on Great Oak Road and going down 500 feet. The entrance into that subdivision. And if you go another 50 feet, you got the timeshares right there. And at the summertime, a lot of traffic. People don't stop at the stop sign, they go right through. You know, it's a bad intersection there. I think it'd be a lot safer if they come off of Red Brick Road. There's two lots, they own lots on Red Brick Road, so it's not like we have to buy a piece of land or something. You know, so that's what I'd like to ask them again.
Anything else, Dennis?
And I want to make sure they do a study. I'm glad.
The PAL study.
Well, study, yeah.
Okay, and the other thing is, the Mashpee Wampanoag Tribal Historic Preservation Officer, usually that's a condition of our decision, and usually part of that condition is that the TIPO, the Tribal Historic Preservation Officer, is present when the assessment is made at the site.
Yeah.
So,
Has that been arranged?
no, I don't know how to arrange that.
I haven't been contacted about this study at all, so I'm not aware of it, but I can certainly figure out how to make sure that David is present if and when that study occurs. I'll have to just reach out to the applicant to get the details.
Right, so can you reach out to the applicant and also notify David Whedon as the TIPO, that's what they call it, the Tribal Historic Preservation Officer, and formally notify him that the PAL study has been,
Procured?
I don't know if it's been procured or started or what, arranged, but then he can call, as the TIPO, he can call the PAL laboratory and clearly state as a TIPO, I want to be present. That sound good?
Here's a way to probably tighten all this up quickly. The Brian Ugesha is his name. In this report that he did in response to Ed's request for comments on what was wrong and what they needed to do, he didn't have any mention of the archaeological assessment, so you could ask him to amend this and add the archaeological assessment and put David Whedon in there to be present. One. The other thing is the traffic mitigation. It was not a traffic study, but a traffic mitigation. And I was going to ask Ed, would number 3, which says, "We recommend that a stop sign and painted stop line be provided for safety on the exit lane of the subdivision road at Great Oak Road," would that alone, would that mitigate the traffic problem? I don't know. I mean, maybe Catherine would be a better, or I don't know, I guess Ed would be quite competent to do that. Also, they are adding a street light at Osprey Court and Great Oak, dark skylight, which will also add to the safety. So I just want to know if that's good enough. And the other thing is they're tearing down, as you recall, 2 buildings on the open space, and that means they're going to disturb that land. And are they going to, it should be put in here that they're going to revegetate that open space.
Yeah.
That's it.
Right, so we wanted a revegetation plan, right?
I think so, yeah.
Because right now, they were just gonna put mulch down, and I think we indicated that wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay,
In fact, it says it in looking at the, at that section on open space, they're supposed to bring it back to natural. So,
right, I don't want it just to be mulch.
yeah.
I mean, at least seed it with indigenous, like, native plants. The mulch will kill everything, I think. But anyways, okay, we'll work on that.
I like to see if the town could buy that and be partners with the tribe and some environmental groups. Because when I was a little kid, I came down here and they used to have a totem pole years ago. And we were told, my friend had a house right near, and it was sacred land, and we couldn't walk on it. And we were little kids, walked by, we were like, ooh, there might be.
You remember it?
Yeah, so that was pretty nice land right there for the tribe. There's a lot of history right in that land. But I don't know if the CPC money or something, if we can work on something like that. I don't know if they would sell it, but it's just my thoughts. Really.
That's a good point. I think with the TIPO being present, we can, further, more information can be found on
What actually happened in that
what's in that specific
area?
lot, because, it's right next to a historic, pre-mapped historic spot,
Yeah.
right? So,
And there could be bodies buried there.
right.
I worked in Little Neck Bay doing a job, and there was 12 bodies buried there, and the tribe bought the land finally, but,
So, yeah, I think, just making sure we get the TIPO, the tribe's TIPO officer involved.
Yeah.
Make sure that all those,
make sure that nothing's there sacred.
right.
Okay, thanks.
I'd like to see that as well.
Good. All right. I'm good.
Let's go to Rob.
No, I'm good.
You good? Karen, anything else?
That's all, thanks.
I think the traffic mitigation was more for that other intersection where it was referenced sometimes as a four-legged intersection, but really it's 2 Ts, because the legs don't line up. So there's the entrance into New Seabury, there's Red Brook. Red Brook then takes a right, and Great Oak takes over. And so it's that intersection they're talking about, if I understand the abutters
That's a
correctly.
lot of accidents, because people come out of Red Brick Road, and they take a sharp right to go into New Seabury. People coming up a Great Oak Road think they're gonna go straight, and boom, they rear end them.
So I did bump into Catherine Laurent, and I said, "Oh, Catherine, I'm so sorry. I didn't tell you. I didn't give you a heads up. New Seabury is going to be calling you." And she said yes, and I said, "Well, this was last night at the night before at the select board meeting, and I just want to fully disclose that she said, I said, well, what kind of improvements could you make? Has the town studied that intersection?" She said no. She said possibly the addition of another stop sign. So it'd be like a three-way stop. The other thing on that intersection is that intersection is not perfectly at a right angle. I don't know how that would impact, or if that's even wanted in the neighborhood, do you know what I mean? That, correcting that, road would make it so that that road would have to come up to standards and it'd be less of a country road and more of something with the curbing, and so it's just something to think about. I know that there's a pedestrian that, you know, crosses that road. for-
Maybe they
for
could
a
put one of
cross-
those flashing lights.
For
like
a
they did
crosswalk, right?
Yeah, with the
You would
flash,
have,
just-
you know what,
just
wind
for the
chime,
people, you know, when
there's you would really need like a crosswalk sign that would be flashing. Now, to me, I'd love that on my street, but I live off of Route 130, do you know what I mean? Like, it's less of a country road than your neck of the woods, so you have to think about, well, if we put a crosswalk, we really need that illuminated stop sign. Just look at the one that's at Wind Chime.
Wind Chime, yeah.
And see if that would fit. So I am gonna, you know, send through the town planner that, yeah, we wanna see some ideas for that intersection. They have a whole traffic division. This engineering company is part of a really big group that has traffic engineers. And, you know, they need to bring that to us or we'll hire somebody.
Yeah.
We'll hire somebody to do it. And I don't want, and then charge them, so that doesn't make any sense. So, and they have time. Because we're gonna continue this till July 17th. Any other, besides, you know, everything that's in the minutes, you know, I was gonna kind of make a short list and get it to the engineer so they're prepared to address it all on the 17th. Anything else from board members?
Nope. I mean,
Okay, so now I'm gonna open it up to the public. If you'd like to come up, please come to the front table and use your mic. Let me know your name and your address for the record. And you can come right up and, yep. Kind of think about what you would add to this list for them to address.
My name is Jewel Blake. I live at 709 Great Neck Road South, and I'm the pedestrian you're talking about.
Right, hi.
Among others. I'm not the only one who crosses that street. I'm a little confused as to the order of things. Does everything that was said tonight point to the archaeological study being done first, and we have to wait until the results?
Yeah.
So that could take a long
That's what I'm
time.
assuming. Usually we put it as a condition, and they have to do that before any site work starts, but they're doing it now, and it doesn't take that long. So
okay.
we might have results by the next meeting.
Okay, that was my question. I had no idea how long that might take.
Right, and I think that, I'm hoping that, we find out what do their finding means? Like, does it mean that things are just removed? You know what I mean? Does it mean that things go into the custody? Does land go into the custody of the tribe? And I have no idea what happened. I don't know if you do, Dale.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep, we have all night. Take, you know, like, you feel free to come up.
Hi, I'm Tom Starrick. I live at 86 Red Brook Road.
Right.
And, you know, I have a few questions, and it has nothing to do with traffic. Now, what is the zoning in our area on Red Brook Road and Great Oak Road?
R3.
Are you asking what the zoning district is, or?
What the zoning district is? My understanding, it's 1 acre parcels,
Oh, I understand.
okay? So now that's 1 acre parcels, and what they're planning on doing is making 16,000 square foot parcels, which is just a little more than a third.
Right?
Yeah, I can,
It's R3.
would you like me to respond to his question?
Yes, yes.
So I got the sense, actually, at the first public hearing, based on some of the public comments offered, that there was a sense or a feeling or perception that the applicant was seeking relief under the bylaw to get more building lots than would otherwise be permissible.
Of course.
And I understand why you might
I'd
believe
like
so.
to do that too.
And so, but what I'm saying tonight, and I'll share with the board and I'll share with the audience, is that is not the case. So you are correct in that the R3 zoning district has a minimum lot size of 40,000 square feet, so a little bit shy of an acre.
Be shy of-
However, the Mashpee zoning bylaw requires that any lots that are to be divided that are in excess of 5 acres must be subdivided in cluster configuration, which this application is. So what is cluster configuration? Essentially, that requires the applicant to create what are smaller lot sizes and through a special permit process, which we're in now, where this board has the discretion to apply a unique set of dimensional criteria to maximize the provision of open space. So they don't get any more lots than would otherwise be allowed over the division of the 16 total acres, or I can't remember how many acres it is. But they are allowed to reduce the lot size so they can take some of that to protect. So the amount of lots shown here is the amount of lots that would be allowed if it weren't in cluster configuration. But in exchange for the open space, they are allowed smaller lot sizes.
I'm very familiar with the property. I abut it on Sips Road, and the shacks we're talking about, I can see those buildings from my backyard. And one is not a shack, one is an old house, and the other one was a shed. Now, they're dilapidated, and, but they're not shacks, you know. One was a house. Now, I think there's some history in that house that should be looked at. The other thing is, Dennis had mentioned the totem pole. Well, that is a historic site, because I remember the totem pole. That's where Princess Evening Star lived, and she had many buildings on the property, and who knows what else. But my thing is, you know, I get a charge out of New Seabury LLC. It's Icon, a $1 billion corporation. New Seabury was here long before, so they took over a name of New Seabury LLC, New Seabury Homes LLC. What they've already done to Mashpee, building those cottages in New Seabury, is atrocious. It's just atrocious, and I don't know how that was allowed unless it was grandfathered or something in the past.
That's what it was, grandfather.
So that was grandfathered. So when are we gonna say enough is enough? Now, Icon is selling everything they have now.
Yeah.
So they're in it for the money and the money only. They're disrupting, like the whole neighborhood's life. Now I'm familiar with the piece of property, like I said, where the shacks are. A huge piece of that they're giving for a reserve area is unbuildable. It's a gigantic hole. Take thousands of yards of fill to fill it. That's what they're giving. A piece of property that would cost so much to build on it. And like I said, I abut that piece too. So I abut the piece that they're planning on giving for reserve land, which is an unbuildable area. It's a huge hole. If you were to go out there, it's deep, it's big.
It's a kettle hole.
It's a kettle hole.
Yeah.
And so that's what they're willing to give up in order to build houses on 16,000 square foot lots, because they know they can't build on it anyways. It would be too expensive. So they're not giving up anything. You know, I'm just against the whole idea of Icon coming over. You know, they've done what they've done on the New Seabury side, which, like I said, is atrocious. Now they want to come over and build the last six or seven houses on this side of the road. I just don't see why we should let them. And when I say let them, I know they have a lot of money and they could fight, and they will fight. But, you know, the common average person that couldn't afford to do that, would we allow, I have over 3.5 acres. Can I come back after you give Icon the permission and you grant them this variance or whatever they're going for? Can I come back to you and say, I want to build, I'll give you a piece of land for reserve. I want to put up 3 houses on my piece of property. My understanding was 1 acre lots, 75 feet of frontage, and I have 150 feet of frontage. I have enough for a road. Can I put 3 houses up on my property? Now,
I don't think it qualifies for.
because I don't
cluster-
have the money?
No, the cluster subdivision, does it have to be a minimum of 5 acres?
It may be a minimum of 5, but to
Okay,
answer your
so-
question, you can
So the
put
piece of
3.
land, the piece of land beside me is for sale. That's 2 acres. I'll buy that piece of property and I can put a cluster division?
I think,
It's not,
That
no.
would- Can I?
The minimum size, I believe, of the lot would have to be 5 acres to qualify for a cluster
If I have
configuration.
3.5,
And
if
he's
I
back
bought the
to
piece
him.
of property next to me, which is,
So the answer to your question would be yes,
I would be able to.
yes.
or you could use chapter 40B on your current
Why-
land
why-
and
why
give
are
us
we-
affordable housing.
Why are we here if they can build a cluster division, why are we even here? Because they
Well,
need a variance.
the whole idea of cluster subdivisions in this town has, was the first one to really promote this, was that you get open space. So instead, this,
We have 100 acres behind us, which is federal wildlife refuge. We have enough open space. We don't need New Seabury's whole
right,
kettle
but this
hole.
is your bylaw that got approved at town meeting.
The bylaw saying,
The cluster subdivision,
of the cl-
yeah.
which-
It's,
which-
it's the current bylaw, my first look at this is that while we might put some conditions on this property, I do think this is allowed.
there,
I mean, we haven't finished our review, we haven't addressed all of our comments or your comments. And it doesn't mean that we're not gonna ask for certain things, but I don't want, I haven't made my decision yet, but I haven't seen any huge barrier for this going forward, because the cluster subdivision bylaw is a current bylaw, and it's not something that was from, 35 years ago, or this is, regardless of who owned it, I think this could go forward as a cluster subdivision. So the whole point of, this is why I'm so happy that you're here, is I want to hear how this impacts the neighborhood and the neighbors, and how to mitigate those
where the road is
impacts.
going in on Great Oak Road. The gentleman was here last time, and he's a war veteran with PSTD.
Yes.
I've had a few friends commit suicide that had PSTD. He had said that the construction, that this would,
I know.
the trucks banging their tailgates, the trucks, the land clearing, the building, for years. This will take a couple years.
More.
And
More.
so that will affect him tremendously. It will affect the whole neighborhood tremendously. And it's like you don't care about the residents that live in Mashpee. You care about, well, we're here to fight this. And it's like you don't care about the residents, you just care about the bylaw that you set, which I think is a ridiculous bylaw, but it is the bylaw. And if it weren't Icon, not, I know they call themselves New Seabury Homes LLC, but it's Icon.
Yeah.
And they have plenty of money. They just want to build on every square foot of property they have. Why don't they just donate the property to the town? Why don't they do that? It has historical value. Like we said, you're going to get that outfit there to do a survey site. I don't understand the big need for Icon to build 7 more houses that's gonna disrupt a whole neighborhood, a good-sized neighborhood, and give us a kettle hole for reserve land, which is no good to anybody.
Thank you. I'm glad that you brought up the kettle hole.
The kettle hole is deep, and it's big, and it's unbuildable.
Years ago, I went around and we marked all the kettle holes, because they're pretty interesting. And when the glacier was here, the water was there and it, dried up and they made big holes and stuff. So there's quite a few of them
Oh,
in that
the
area.
ice, the block of ice.
Yeah,
Okay.
and the cedar trees grow around it a lot. And the tribal member used to cut the cedars down and make shingles and stuff. But the way people kind of took their land from that, but
Ceremonial.
Exactly. The
So
whole-
I'm going to ask you to wrap it up.
The whole
I
property.
completely understand your
The whole
concern.
property there has historical value. And, to just come in and build 7 houses, it just doesn't seem feasible to me. It just that doesn't make sense. Why they should do it. Enough is enough, I moved to Mashpee. I bought that lot because it was in the woods and it was private, and so didn't all my neighbors. And now we're getting pushed out. The animals, I do a lot of work in New Seabury for New Seabury, for the Peninsula Council, for the ARC, for New Seabury, not Icon. And I used to see deer run there, I would see fox, I would see all kinds of wildlife in the area they built on their side of the road. They pushed all that wildlife over across the street on our side of the road. Now they want to push it back further. I mean, enough. I hope this board has, just has the decency to think about the residents that live in that area. And I know I'm taking up time, but I was bored earlier, so, you're gonna have to listen to me.
Well, I need to recognize other people, and then I get a turn.
I have plenty more to say, but I'll sit down. But I hope you consider, the historical value of that whole piece. And those are not shacks that I abut on Sips Path. Those are not shacks. So that was a house and it was a shed, and nobody's been back there for a long time because it doesn't need tearing down. It's already fallen down. There's just lumber there. So there's nothing to tear down. And as far as revegetating, it's just rotten wood there. There's not a building. But I found bottle dumps back there. There's bottle dumps where there was never houses over on the other side of Sips Path, where I just think the whole property has historical value. So I'll sit down with that, and I hope you think about that. And the engineers couldn't make it tonight, so maybe I'm taking up some of
I have
their
a feeling
time.
there was a serious miscommunication.
I did just
Well,
get
I
an email from
understood
them.
what day we were gonna be here.
So
and
they
I'm-
must be
I'm
watching.
busy, too.
They must be watching.
I left a job to come here, and,
No, you got to
So I
speak.
understood it was tonight. I don't know where the
Yeah.
miscommunication came from. And, I might sound like I'm a little upset. I am upset, because I think this whole thing is just all about money and not thinking about the residents that live nearby. And I'll wrap it up with that.
Thank you.
Okay?
All right.
Thank you.
I do have some comments to add to the list. Does anybody else have anything in addition to, yep, come on up, Lynn. Oh, you know what, can I have Evan read that, what the email is?
Yes.
It asks, Evan, would you please stop this? It's getting a little out of hand. I didn't realize that our representatives weren't going to be there. Otherwise, I would have been there. I don't believe that this meeting should have been opened up.
yeah.
Was email.
But we never received a,
We did not.
yeah, okay. So, I have the public hearing open. If a representative from the project proponent can come, that's great. We're not closing the public hearing. We're gonna continue it. But as chair, I, without a request for continuance, I couldn't just continue it on my own. Anyways, to continue,
Lynn Barbie, Surf Drive. I live off Red Brook Road. And as you all can probably tell, I don't do a lot of walking around, but I do a lot of driving. And it's summer, and the traffic has almost doubled going down Great Oak. And for people who don't drive around there very much, people are going 40 miles an hour going down Great Neck South. That's what the speed limit is, between 40 and 45. They're hitting that intersection where you pass the entrance to New Seabury, and then there's the entrance to Red Brook. Sometimes people put on their turn signal, occasionally, but they're going 40 miles an hour. We need, if this development happens, and I don't support it, but if it does, we need a stop sign on Red Brook at that intersection, because even if people don't, it takes a while to get used to it, it will slow them down. Because it is really dangerous to pull out of there with cars coming out of New Seabury, down Great Oak, coming up, down Great Neck, coming up Great Oak, and into, in Red Brook. So I would ask that there be a very careful study about putting a stop sign in the southbound area on Great Neck at Red Brook. Thank you.
That's the worst spot, because people have no stop, they have no stop signs there.
They're going 40 miles an
I
hour.
live down the end, so I'm concerned with that just as much as you people living on Red Brick Road, because I drive up and down there 5 or 6 times a day, and especially now, the summertime, people don't realize, oh, I gotta get to New Seabury, and they go shooting down. A couple of people stopped because they were gonna go down Red Brick Road, but they went past the thing and they jammed their brakes on them there. Who would jam when your brakes are on this car behind you? You know, it's like,
It's already a dangerous intersection, and we don't need more cars going down there. But anything that would slow the cars down
Would help.
would be useful, and probably it has to be a stop sign. Or maybe some rumble strips or something, which people would really hate.
okay, so,
okay, so I'll just add a few more things to that list. Again, I just want to be clear that I was looking for the project proponent to come up with some traffic calming solutions to that intersection. And reasonable ones that they would be willing to employ or provide the resources that the town would need to employ them. The other thing is, I am concerned about the kettle hole. I was looking at it. It is a hole that has a rapid depression with upland. I don't know where the groundwater level is there, and I don't know if it's a vernal pool.
yeah.
The species that that depend on vernal pools,
Salamander.
like the wood frog, I'm sure are in that land. So we need to discuss if that's a vernal pool. And, you know, if it is and it's in the open space, it's fine. My concern is that the whole stormwater management plan is to feed into that. And if it is a vernal pool, that would destroy the vernal pool.
Right.
It wouldn't be running pool anymore.
Because it goes from elevation 22 to, I think, below 15.
Yeah.
So that is something that I would like addressed. by the applicant. I know it's not a certified vernal pool, it's not in that map, that overlay, that data from the state, but that's probably because nobody's started the certification process for that. So, anything else before we continue the public hearing? Oh,
Just wanted you all to be aware that I did speak with Catherine about the traffic mitigation
oh,
question.
thank you.
She said, you know, as Mary had indicated, you know, we haven't studied it. It hasn't been of a critical concern to her, but that it may be of the police department. I've asked the police chief to look into the matter, and they're going to be providing me data. That request, so I'm awaiting that reply. I would certainly anticipate having more information prior to your next meeting from the police department in that regard. And I do think that there are a number of relatively easily implemented interventions to improve the conditions there. And so once we have some crash data, we could identify specifically what those, what the best, you know, best bang for your buck, so to speak, would be with minimal disruption to the neighborhood.
And it would be interesting also to consider, because there was a subdivision that they asked for one of those speed signs.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Because, am I correct that I heard that Ms. Barbie said that it's 40 miles an hour?
Yeah,
I'm not certain what the speed limit is.
45.
And then people take a right turn. So it's an interesting intersection, because really, it's, I think that most of the traffic goes, you know, Red Brook and takes that turn. Normally, on an intersection like that with two Ts, two offset Ts, the traffic is going straight through. But in this case, it's not. It's taking a right turn.
There's enough room at the intersection to have like a dedicated right turn with a stop sign on Red Brook Road.
Yeah.
Like a yield dedicated right turn stop sign. Then if you were to put the rate, speed feedback radar signs on the long straight approaches, you should be able to slow traffic and then control that intersection a little bit better.
The traffic slows down, I think it's 30 or maybe 25, once you get past the Children's Museum. And then when you go past Red Brick Road, past the timeshare, it stuffs back up to 40 miles an hour.
And the shoulders are so wide, it's just easy to fly.
Really?
Yeah.
Why would you go, I always end up going slower after that intersection.
No, if you see the sign, it's down a little ways, it says 40 miles an hour.
I'd never go 40 miles an hour on that road. Wow, okay.
It seems like no stop sign going towards South Cape is it's like outdated, like.
Yeah.
That's for a way smaller population, right? But now we have
Too much population.
triples.
Okay, so I'll take these notes and look at the minutes and make a short list.
So we could continue the public hearing till the next meeting?
Yep, our next meeting is July 17th.
Is there anything on the
There's
agenda?
nothing on it. We could do 7:10 and 7:15. So I take a motion to continue the public hearing for the New Sidbury Homes special permit for cluster subdivision to 7:10 on July 17th, 2024.
So be?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And then I take a motion to continue the public hearing for New Sidbury Homes for the definitive subdivision plan for 7:15 on July 17th, 2024.
So be?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay. And, is it Tom? Did you want, you can take this set of plans? Yep, come right up. And they're online. And you can share with your neighbors. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. We already did the new business. Thank you, everybody, for coming. I apologize for that miscommunication with the applicant, because I'm sure you would have liked to hear some information from them, but July 17th, we'll all be here again. Okay. Review and approval of consulting engineers invoices.
I don't remember there being an invoice.
Yeah,
Is there one in there?
yeah, there's one on the back page,
I didn't see it.
Yes, okay, now I recall.
where is it?
I didn't see that.
Second.
It's right after that tri-party.
On the Back of the second page of new
Yeah,
business.
yeah, it's the,
Like single pages.
it's 740, 68.
You got it. That's for Cranberry Point, final services for Cranberry Point.
So I take a motion to approve the invoice for the amount of,
740, 68.
So be?
is there a second?
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody abstaining or voting no? Okay, thank you. Okay, next item is old business, review and discussion of request to schedule working session with members of the Pompanesett Working Group and other neighborhoods regarding an updated raise and replace bylaw and other matters that affect the town in Pompanesett. So Evan, I think, does staff have an update?
I think I have an update. Have you all, I believe last, we discussed this, that we were gonna try to hit June 20th with a meeting, but that does not work any longer. And we were going to move to Tuesday, June 25th from 6 to 8 PM for the topic.
Yep.
Have you all received that correspondence from Karen? I don't know if I've seen anyone confirm to her their availability.
I
did.
Rob, Karen, Mary.
Oh, I think I respond, I probably won't be
So
able
we're
to.
looking at June 25th from 6 to 8 PM with
Yeah.
members of Papaneset.
Right, right.
And we've been considering other neighborhoods to invite, and I'm generally thinking the older, small lot subdivisions in and around the freshwater ponds, so like Johns Pond Beach Association. And then like the Santuit Pond area, like the Timberlane Shores subdivision. So, and I guess Monomoskoye and Secaucet Islands.
Yes.
Would be important to invite as well. I don't know if they have like established associations. I'm sure that they have something, but I certainly know representatives from those neighborhoods we could reach out to. But that's would be my suggestion for a more inclusive group.
And
Sounds
is
good.
the Ashumet Pond group that different from John's
No,
Pond?
probably not. We don't have, there's not a lot of Mashpee properties on Ashumet Pond, but I could figure out if
Okay.
I could try to identify a contact for that group of residents. And if not a contact, we could send them individual letters, considering there are so few.
So John's Pond, Marge Hecht came to talk on that matter. The very first meeting, or after you gave us the draft, there were some people that came that night. Marge was one, I don't
I don't
forget who
remember.
else. Okay, so that's John's Pond. There is a Friends of Ashumet Pond. You could ask. But you're right, there's not that many properties, but,
We could just as easily send them a letter to like each of those property owners of the date and time.
well, I kind of want, I don't think I'm ready for
Open floodgates?
every property owner to be invited. I'm kind of looking for people who have, expressed some interest in this,
Okay.
are in a leadership role, stakeholders, you know what I mean?
Yep.
I'm not even ready to talk to the ZBA until we kind of get a feeling about,
What they're looking for.
yeah. I mean, remember, when we first looked at what Evan had written, we were like, oh, this looks really good, and we got feedback right away. And there's really no consensus. Those first few comments, there's no consensus.
Yeah.
And we might do overlays in different parts of town, you know what I mean? But, then you said Santuit?
Like around Santuit Pond, so I'm thinking of the older subdivisions that were divided like pre-zoning, so that would be the Timberlane Shores subdivision. And then there's also like the Bryant's Neck neighborhood as well. That is Bryant's Neck, right, Dale?
Yes, Brian's name
Pond.
is.
And they have active associations as well in around
Okay.
that neighborhood.
All
And we
right.
have contacts for them.
And is that the Monomoskoye and Secaucet neighborhood?
No, they're separate from that. Monomoskoye was subdivided in like 1913 or something like that, but I don't know if they have an active association of any kind.
So I know Don Barton is active down there. I don't know who
We certainly know
else.
people on Monomoskoye, but
Yeah.
we'd have to find a ringleader.
That, I'm wondering if you could ask Wayne Taylor,
Sure.
right? Because I remember those neighborhoods were active on something. So Wayne, let's see if Wayne can suggest a few, people.
Carol Sherman lives on Mashpee.
Yes, yes. And, it's eventually gonna be in front of the select board, so I'm not sure if it's time for Carol Sherman, you know what I mean? Because it's gonna go to the board as, so, but, I mean, if she feels, I don't wanna say no to anybody, but it's, you know what I mean? It's gonna, we're eventually gonna meet with the ZBA on this,
Yeah.
but,
I think it's important to have people that represent those areas
Okay.
first. Because
Yes.
when you get too many people, they're gonna all have questions, and it's gonna be repeated
Yeah.
about the houses, so.
For the neighborhoods that don't have active associations, I think just for those property owners, deciding who is the representative is not gonna be as easy as it is for others.
Yeah,
I guess that's for them to figure out under the scheme, but,
right,
just a limitation.
right.
but I'd like to figure out what their questions are
Exactly.
before we have a big meeting. Then we can sit down.
Right.
We can decide, and then have a big meeting.
Yeah.
So we have some answers, not all at once, like.
Do you wanna do like an open call for questions on the subject?
That's a good idea.
And we can make a database of questions?
Or what they're concerned about,
Right, so it's gonna be kind of like a workshop.
Yeah.
Right? So where are we holding it?
I believe we're planning on the event room at the library.
Okay, good.
It could be in this room, I'll have to confirm, however.
So, because what I'd like to do is all sit around one table.
all right.
Do you know what I mean? Not like this, where people feel like they're coming up to testify, but kind of like,
A more friendly
King
atmosphere.
Arthur's round table, right?
I'm Sir Lancelot.
Right. And I think the Papaneset Beach Association has done a little bit of drafting of what they'd like to
Yeah.
see.
Truthfully, Dennis, your neighborhood
They probably-
association may be interested in this as well. You're a floodplain neighborhood with smaller lots that was divided, 60s, I think? I
Yeah.
can't- So there
So
might
your
be,
association,
Yeah, we
yeah.
have associated, yeah.
and if we're leaving anybody out, don't worry, we're just starting. I just want to say to people, don't feel like we're gonna cut anybody out. And do you still have that draft?
yes, of course.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to spotlight is, introducing that whole concept of form-based code. That was, remember, is it Russell Prescott? What was his name?
Yeah.
Russell Preston.
Preston.
Preston, all right.
Preston
Oh,
of
yeah.
Principal Group. They did his claim to fame on form-based code was a neighborhood just like this up in Maine.
Yeah,
Remember?
yeah.
So it's something,
But he did a lot of things like Somerville. One of the things was Somerville.
right. But if you go into this neighborhood in Maine, it's obvious that this is not Somerville.
Yeah,
These are little lots, and so the thought is that it would be something by right, a bylaw that was by right, so they didn't have to go to the ZBA all the time. Do you know what I'm saying?
so that's farm-based.
But they might say no to that idea. They might want to still have a special permit from the ZBA.
Yeah.
I don't know, so that will be one of the questions. Any other major,
Well, it's not on the agenda, but under old business. And it's a point of information for my edification. Has to do with the flow neutral bylaw. Section 108-10, violations and penalty enforcement. The question is, Section A, paragraph A says, any person found to be violating any provisions of this chapter shall be served by the town with written notice stating the nature of the violation and providing a reasonable time limit for the satisfactory correction thereof. The question is, has Willow Bend been notified of a violation of this bylaw.
So let's put that in the parking lot. And let's get through this raise and replace workshop first.
Oh, okay. Oh, I thought we were done with that.
It's all connected, you're right, it's all connected. And then the other thing I wanted to get out of the workshop was people's senses, should we go town-wide on something, or start to look at overlay districts for different neighborhoods, some of which might be the same? Do you know what I mean? So, because at first, we had two different ones.
Under a form-based approach, it would make sense to have varying character districts that are
Right.
consistent with the neighborhood.
Right,
Remember,
I
they're
get
called
that now.
character districts within a form-based
Yeah.
code? So you'd have like the Ponds Character District and then the Coastal Beach Character District. But under a conventional zoning scheme, it's a little bit easier to approach.
So the farm base would work the best way,
Well,
I'm,
it's a way, it can work, and it's an option.
okay?
yeah.
I gotta
It's-
think about that.
You have to think about it. So what I'll do is I'll send the link. I found it. I found what Russell was talking about, and I'll send the link to Evan. And he can, and you know, think about it, because that's the whole thing. Is that they don't have to go for a special permit. They do it by right. If they comply completely with it, they don't have to worry about it. They can just go get a building permit. So.
So that means June 25th at 6 and 8, and we don't know where it's gonna be yet?
It'll be either here or in the library, and I'm 95% confident we've confirmed the availability of the event room, but I just don't recall, and I'll have to shoot an email out through
Put
Karen.
me down, I didn't. I'm gonna-
You're in.
Okay.
You're in.
No takebacks.
And Dale, you don't mind if we go forward, we'll just update you?
Yes,
And if you have any, like, thoughts about this,
Yes.
just get them to Evan.
that's fine.
Yeah, I'd like the library if we could. Kind of like neutral territory, right? All right. So, Rob brought up an item. Do we want to, I'm not sure that it's an urgent item. Could it wait to be put on the July 17th?
Sure.
Okay.
And I can also follow up with Rob too before then.
But why, right, but why don't we put it on the July 17th agenda?
Okay.
All right, and then, yeah. And if you give any information to Rob, Rob can present. Okay. All right, moving on, we don't have our board engineer with us today. Let's wait for Karen for me to do the chair's report. I guess let's skip to board member committee reports. Cape Cod Commission, if I didn't report on this before, I don't know if I told you, the regional housing strategy was released. The final regional housing strategy. The Charter Review Committee, we meet next Monday at 6:30. Community Preservation Committee, they meet next June 20th. I'm not going to be able to attend that meeting. There is a proposal was submitted by Colton Atkins, is that his name?
Atkinson.
Atkinson, thank you. And it seems to be a larger project than I at first, not so much a larger project, but it seems to be a project, that network of bike trails might be best to be looked under as we do our open space and rec plan. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Have a special expanded chapter on that, because it involves a lot of stuff that other open space and rec resources and needs are interconnected. So it might be better to have that kickoff study for that idea to be part of the larger open space and rec plan.
Yeah, it should be.
So I think that's how it's gonna go, but I don't know.
Well, I'm sorry, what committee did he present that to?
He brought it here,
Right, I remember
I
that.
think we said, yeah, it's a good idea. And then the application was submitted to the Community Preservation Committee. It's on a funding cycle that we have plenty of time to look at it. I think he was gonna go to the Environmental Oversight Committee. Is he
Okay.
gonna go? He was also going to start talking to the owners of these lands. But it's a huge undertaking. And we were thinking, since we're gonna do our open space and rec plan, we were thinking of maybe expanding that chapter on trails and bikeways. Putting a little extra money in that chapter to do the part one of his idea. Because he wanted to study it, plan it, and then construct it. But for $100,000, but while we have an open space and rec plan under development, we might wanna just take a pause from the construction money and study it first.
Right.
Under a more of a comprehensive effort for the whole town for open space and rec. 'Cause it actually would connect the whole town,
Right.
so. Design review?
We did have a design review May 21. It was Alfieri Tree Care wanted to get a piece of ground for, I'm not even sure what they want to do, maybe store equipment there. It'll be basically a gravel bed ground. It's 54,000, about 55,000 square feet, of which 45,000 would be the yard. Now, something happened there, and I realized it after the fact. I don't know, I must have been asleep or something, but I asked the engineer, how could he store logs on that ground? Because the land use table says no storage or pods. They are not permitted. But he said, and this was a quote, that other similar sites have been permitted by the ZBA. So I don't know, I just didn't even hear it or something. Anyway, so that was the first issue. Then I said to him, well, there is a tree bylaw, which came into force on May 6th. And he told me he cut the trees down 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago being May 7th. It was a completely treed lot. And his answer was that they had purchased the property prior to the bylaw. And it passed, but I think it got corrected by the town planner.
Plan review met on the same project, and we actually didn't recommend an approval on meeting one. We had to have them come back because of some, I'd say general lack of clarity on the plan about how the property was intended to be used. They did indicate on, I'll call it Plan 1, Draft 1, a relatively significant portion of the site to be used as storage. And I just want to clarify something for you. A contractor's yard, by definition of the bylaw, is specifically to allow contractors to store their material for the use of their site and of equipment. What the prohibition in the use table is specifically talking about like storage containers and pods. So they had initially contemplated filling up the property with these storage containers to store material inside. That is not permissible under the bylaw, and those have been removed from the site. Now, I would agree with Karen that clearing the lot prior to permitting is probably going to be something I have to deal with under a mitigation plan, because they are subject to the tree preservation program, and I'll need to tackle that probably with the Zoning Board of Appeals, who's the special permit granting authority. But we did review draft 2 of the plan that's removed the trailers of concern. They are storing equipment, and they have some bays for like the logs that they collect and either send away for processing or split on site. Very similar to an operation on Evergreen Circle where Gavoni Forestry Products operates. So at this juncture, plan review is satisfied with the changes, notwithstanding the issues surrounding the tree preservation plan that is likely to be required.
Okay. Environmental Oversight Committee,
No meeting.
Historic District.
No meeting.
Okay. So I wanted to go back to the chair's report. And as we all know, I think this is Evan's last meeting with us. His last day is the end of the month, but this is our last meeting. So as chair, on behalf of the planning board, Evan, I just want to thank you for all your hard work with the town. And, I'm sure you guys have something to, but wish you well on your future endeavors. I don't know if anybody wants to add anything.
Evan, you did a wonderful job, and I'm gonna really miss you. And, I don't know what we're gonna do without you, because we don't even have a planner coming in yet.
Well, as I've indicated to the town manager, I hope there's flexibility for me to fill in the gaps until you do find someone who's going to do a great job for you. So while the end of the month is my last, this is my last meeting in my full-time capacity. I hope to have a few more with you in the event that I'm desired in a limited capacity. But I do appreciate it.
So you're gonna be at the June 25th meeting?
I will be at the June 25th meeting, yes.
Okay.
Yes, I will. But it has been a real honor to serve the town. It's been very rewarding in many ways, and it's been extremely challenging in many ways, mostly positively challenging. So I've appreciated knowing and working with all of you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good newspaper article.
Thank you.
That was good. So just to let the board members know, I've been in touch with Rodney. I had a sit-down meeting with him, I think last week, just to make sure that the planning board has the resources we need to do our job. And Rodney's got our back. So I know that there was a posting for the job. I know that there's 3 applicants.
Oh, all right, good.
So, and Rodney has asked me to be on the screening committee as chair, so.
I just want to say, I'm Evan.
Oh, excuse me.
Sorry. It's been an honor watching you work the past year. It's something to aspire to. You never miss a beat. You didn't miss one beat this whole year that I've known you. It's really impressive. I'm glad you're going on to do things that you want to, that you want to do, and it's just been a pleasure watching you serve the town. Good luck to you.
Thank you, Dale. Appreciate it.
I echo Dale's comments. Very professional, very knowledgeable. You bring a great deal to the town planning function and all your various other oversight functions. Good luck in your next endeavors.
Thank you, Rob.
I want to say that I've really enjoyed working with him, with Evan. He's very easy to get along with. He is very knowledgeable. He's very intelligent, without question, very thoughtful. He's a thinker, and he's got a lovely way with people. I have to say that. He's got the whole package, and I hope we get somebody who has anywhere close to his skills and abilities.
I'm confident you guys will find a wonderful, succeeding planner. I'm confident. Thank you.
Mary, when are the interviews?
Oh, I have no idea.
Hasn't been said yet.
No, I would let you know. I'll let you know. They first have to, I'm not the HR director, but they have to be reviewed for minimum, meeting the minimum criteria. I'm hoping all 3 do, and that we have 3 candidates to consider. So, we'll see. But I'll keep you in the
So
loop.
who's gonna be on this committee? A person from the planning board, a select person, and Ron?
I don't know. I think it's the director of human
Right,
resources,
that's,
right?
last time when we voted for Evans, we had 2
We had
board members
2,
and 2 selectmen members.
I remember you were there.
Yeah,
Yeah. I suggested that it be Rodney.
yeah.
But
Rodney's gonna be there.
I don't know what Rodney decides, so I don't I can check in with him again.
Yeah.
But, yeah. That was a while ago. I don't know if they do a big selection committee or not, but,
And I hope they bring Evans back just to show the person that we hire, here's my files, here's what's here, not leave the person like her. Is the secretary gonna stay?
I anticipate so, yeah.
Oh, but she's good.
Yeah.
Oh,
She's top-notch.
yeah, you know, so,
Top-notch. Well, I do, thank you. I appreciate it. It's a little weird, but I am seeking to do different things. And so I've just really enjoyed my time, and thank you all. Keep up the good work. Good luck.
so you gave up coffee and you're drinking Red Bull now?
I'm just a caffeine freak, Dennis.
all right, and then we go to town planner reports, local comprehensive plan.
I have provided all of the implementation chapters and their associated elements to the consultant for compilation. I have not been told how long that will take with the formatting and everything like that, but hopefully before the end of this month, I'll at least have a document put together for you to begin reviewing in its totality.
Oh, good.
And so I'll report to you as soon as I know more from them. Hopefully it'll include a draft PDF or something like that. Harbor Management Planning Committee met again, I believe it was last week, to continue, again, evaluating the draft chapters of that plan. We specifically reviewed the public access section and the fisheries section. Comments were provided, edits made, and we'll continue to review those chapters until we're through all of them. And then lastly, housing production plan, no new update. I'm just awaiting on a date from the town manager / select board's office on when you and they can meet jointly to review the final draft.
So, okay, so this is the plan. I don't know if, so that link that Evan sent everybody, I think on May 7th,
Yeah.
when you go to that site, the bottom red piece that says like updated draft plan and the biggest letters on the bottom, you'll get
Update.
the final draft with a 2-page letter kind of on the front from the housing committee, plus the executive committee, plus all the appendices. I think 2/3 of this document are the appendices. But what's interesting, it has the full survey, it has everybody's comments, it has the response to all of those comments from the housing committee. It has the old goals and objectives of the past, the most previous housing production plan. Right above that is the redlined version of the plan, just the plan itself, without the appendices, without the letter from the housing committee. But that's nice to see, you know, quickly going through what changed since the last time we saw it. So I'm sure Karen Leslie in the office will print this out for you if you want it. But that you should look at, so we're prepared on the 24th in case we do have that joint meeting. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right, and I think with that, if there's no other item, I'd
I make a motion to adjourn.
Okay,
Second.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all right, that's it.